let's talk about the Raiders. What is wrong there? What is up with them, Dan?
Yeah. Last year, it was the defense. The defense did not play well. Can't say that this year. That defense has actually been a solid unit. The offense is the problem this year. And we could sit here and point to the quarterbacks and, because of some of the injuries and whatnot. I get like super intrigued by Josh McDaniels because I was such a massive fan of his in New England. I thought like the matchups that he would create and the formations he would get in and out of. And there was just this really cool, it almost felt like steps ahead of defenses. And I watched them play now. And I'm like, you guys feel steps behind on defenses. They're one of the teams in the NFL that right now get into 21 personnel. We're going to talk about this a ton with Miami, 21, 2 backs and 1 tight end. And they don't use it to create matchups. They get into 21 personnel to do like old school run game stuff. If that's your identity right now, like that's an identity of theirs. It's not a change up. It's not a curveball. It's kind of who they are. I go like, I feel like I'm watching 1995 ball too much with them. And I'm not saying I'm like the smartest person. I can find ways to get Davante Adams the football. I 100% can find ways to get him the football. I watch these teams every week do it with other receivers. I'm watching the Cowboys do it with CeeDee Lamb. I watched the other day Cincinnati do it with Jamar Chase. I watch the New Orleans Saints do it with Michael Thomas, and I'm sitting there going, we can't get Davante the ball. And it's crazy to think that player is being wasted with the Raiders right now, completely wasted. And there's no light at the end of the tunnel for it. There's no like, hey, we're going to have the first pick, so we'll get Caleb Williams or Drake May. That's not, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. So I find it, I know Shefty has said, and I'm sure other insiders have said, like they're adamant they're not trading him. It makes no sense to me. Why not? It hasn't worked. Whatever the reason is, it hasn't, and you might as well try to recoup some of the value.
Well, but it's not the quarterback because again, Derek Carr, did have those 2 picks in Pittsburgh that was the final nail in the coffin on that Christmas Eve night game that we had on NFL Network as well. But and that's what Adams has got to be like. Okay, so Carr couldn't work here, but this is what the other option is right now. So you put it on the scheme and the play caller right now, Dan, if you have to put it anywhere?
I can't. Coming off of last night, obviously there's 2 150-yard touchdowns that are just blatantly missed by Jimmy, you know? So like, I can't sit here and say it's all Josh McDaniels. But the body of work over this year certainly has to be a little bit attributed to it, a little bit. And then certainly the quarterback play has not been good this year, for Jimmy or when Brian was in there, and I know Aiden O'Connell got some time. So it's absolutely part of that conversation. But I sit there and I go, even if the quarterback is X, there's got to be there's more creative ways where you can just get Davante the ball,
right.
Like just get him the ball and get it into his hands. I see perimeter screens up and down the NFL every week, so that's not necessarily happening much. They're not creating a ton of ISO opportunities for him. I know there was a couple last night. One gets batted, he obviously drops it 3rd down. I don't know, Rich. I just sit there and I go, it's not the first time this, Josh McDaniels had to deal with backup quarterbacks. It's just not. And so there's always contingency plans for those situations. And so I just think he's too dynamic of a player to have one catch. I really do.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern for free.